Hello and welcome to Inside Edition to discuss national, regional and international issues in depth. Engineering is a diverse sector encompassing a number of subcategories. It forms the link between scientific discoveries and their subsequent applications to human and business needs and quality of life. In a country like the Kingdom of Bahrain, the engineering sector has witnessed unparalleled growth in the past years, as it plays a vital role combined with great contribution to the national comprehensive development of both industrial and business sectors in the country. With the aim of enhancing the standards of the engineering professional practice in cooperation with relevant authorities in and outside of Bahrain, the Bahrain Society of Engineers was established on July 1st, 1972, and since that date, it has been continuously providing the Bahraini society with various informative and training services. For more about the Bahrain Society of Engineers, achievements and plans, we are pleased to be joined here in the studio by the Society's President, Dr. Dia Abdelaziz Tawfiqi, but shortly after this. Hello, joining us in the studio is Dr. Dia Tawfiqi. Thank you very much for being with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you very much for the invitation.
Thanks. Dr. Leah, in recent years, the kingdom's engineering sector has witnessed a rapid advancement, and internationally, people are talking about all of the forward thinking that the engineering community has had in Bahrain. We're talking here about all kinds of engineers, the petroleum engineers, architects, everything that goes on. And the society is a place where people of this caliber meet together and really think things through. What can you tell us about how the society was established, its goals, its missions, and what is its future plans?
It's an excellent starting point, and we need an hour to talk about this question.
We don't mind.
The Bahrain Society of Engineers, or as we call it, BSE, was established in 1972, as you said, by a group of founders consisting of 20 engineers only. Some of the names are His Excellency Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, Dr. Hassan Fakhro, Dr. Abdul Latif Kano, and many others. This group were the founders and established the Bahrain Society of Engineers at the time that we didn't have too many professional societies, and they worked very hard in order to mark the beginning of the work and the activities of the Bahrain Society of Engineers. They work in a very small place somewhere in Manama. Then they immediately moved to a temporary place in RAF, and we stayed there until 1992. From 1972 until 92, there were lots and lots of work done by the members at that time. In 92, we built our new headquarters, the current one in Jufair, on a plot donated by the government, and construction was made by donation from various companies, government organizations, government as well as members. And even after building that, now we are in 2019, we are still talking about more expansions due to the increased activities and the very optimistic plans we have to be implemented in the very near future, which we shall talk about further when we talk about this.
Yes. The society was established based on the fact that, especially when it comes to the different fields of engineering, there are some commonalities when it comes to the origin. So like standards that have to be put in order to have a really developed kind of a country with developed buildings or developed processes when it comes to services such as the petrochemical areas and so on. How did the Society of Engineers put their, so to say, their resources together in order to give this high standard of execution in Bahrain?
It's quite correct, because we, similar to other societies in the Middle East, and particularly in the Arab countries, there are institutions, engineering institutions, where all the different specializations come under the same umbrella. Whereas in other countries in Europe and America, you cannot find something like this, because you find different institution for every engineering discipline. But our model is different, and it has got its merits and advantages. So basically what we do is that we have different chapters.
Mm-hmm.
The civil engineers have their own chapters,
Yes.
and so on,
Mm-hmm.
so that each chapter can concentrate on its own requirements.
Yes.
Then we come to the common areas. There are lots of committees that they have got common things together,
Yes.
and there are no need to segregate them according to the engineering disciplines or
Yes.
specialization.
Yes.
Such as, for example, we have got conferences planning committee.
Yes.
It's a strategic committee where we plan the conferences for the next 5 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to have members of different disciplines in one committee so that we have the variety of subjects for the next 5 years. The same idea is applicable on another committee. We call it training planning committee,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's a very critical and very important committee for the future of Bahrain Society of Engineers, as we are concentrating on the planning requirement, where we have different members of different specializations. Yes. In order to have a comprehensive plan for different subjects covering all sorts of engineering for the next 5 years.
Yes.
So it's a major advantage to have all sorts of different disciplines under one umbrella. At the same time, we have these chapters where the specialization of each engineering discipline can be concentrated on.
Yes. The whole world is talking about the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. It's an international goal that all countries have put for themselves in order to work with the changes that are coming towards Earth as we know it. And the Society of Engineers in Bahrain is no different. They are also contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals of 2030. What can you tell us about this contribution and how they plan on achieving the national 2030 Sustainable Development Goals?
Yes, very much. We have got very positive contribution toward that, and I can name at least 3 goals.
Yeah.
The first one is the education.
Yeah.
We, as the Bahrain Society of Engineers, as I said earlier, we are concentrating on the training area, where we have got a training center. It was established in 1998. Yes. And we have got plans for major upgrade and improvement of this training center in order to be the leading training center for engineers and architects, not only for Bahrain, but also for the region as well. As part of it also, we are planning to build a new building, a new training center, which we will going to call it the Excellence Center for Engineers, where it will have the latest facilities in terms of engineering, and also for the different kind of support required for the research related to engineering. Yes. So that is the first example where we are contributing toward this. The second one is that the women equality, or gender equality. Yeah. We, in 1998, again the same year, we established the Women Committee, Women Engineers Committee. And I think we were the first societies in Bahrain to establish that at that time. And that is because we believe that about the importance and the role of the women engineers in society, and the need to be given more support. Yes. And this is an ongoing issue. And I'm glad to say that our women engineers have contributed positively in, first of all, in things related to Bahrain Society of Engineers, being board members, being committee members, participating in different activities. Currently, we have about 25% of our members are women, and I think that the statistics showing that the number is in the rise as well. Yes. In addition, we have a look at as a result of this, as a result of support, the role of women engineers, both in private sector and public sector, has been very unique, and they have proved that can take any challenge.
Especially in Bahrain, you see that a lot of women do choose to go into the engineering community. It's like a challenge, because when I talked to different members, they said that it's always been stereotyped as a man's world, the engineering world. But in Bahrain specifically, you see a lot of women engineers in all kinds of fields, from computer engineering all the way to civil engineering, to petroleum engineering, and so on. Is that is that factor also because of the education provided by the society or even by universities in Bahrain in the engineering field?
That's it. I mean, that's the answer to the questions. If you have a look at the students at the Bahrain universities and also other local universities, you can find out that the majority are women. We have recently introduced a program called Tamheed that is for training and recruitment of recently graduated engineers, and we have noticed that the majority are women or ladies, and that's a good signal, and we welcome that, and we as Bahrain Society of Engineers are available to give the full support. I would like to go back to the goals, and there's one more goals related to the participation in the national economy. Now, we are very famous. I mean, the strongest points we have as Bahrain Society of Engineers historically is the conferences. We have so far arranged about 135 international conferences. And that's a huge number.
It is, it is.
And the first conference was organized back in 1975. So we were the oldest organizing party in Bahrain to organize such conferences, and all of them have been very, very successful. Thanks to the committees and to organizing members who worked on this area. These conferences can really contribute to the economy where we bring lots of delegates from outside Bahrain. The average number of delegates about 500 for each conference. They all require hotel accommodation. In addition to this, there are speakers from different parts of the world. Last year we had a BRIC conference where the attendees were 1,300. So you imagine about the number of the financial figures that will contribute to the economy. So we have now identified 3 goals which the Bahrain Society can or has contributed positively in such area, and there are more goals, but for the purpose of the time and we have this, so I have limited the identification of 3 goals only.
Actually, on that part, when we were discussing outside, we talked about basically the different goals that are still coming up that have an international value, and climate change is a big issue when it comes to the international community, and everybody really feels it. And the Society of Engineers is also doing their part when it comes to that factor by being a member in a lot of international organizations, whether the IEEE or other organizations that all feed into helping the world become a safer, more climate adaptable place. So what can you tell us about these international cooperations?
Yeah, we are heavily involved with such international organizations. Starting from the Gulf, we are a member of the GCC Engineering Union. And in addition to that, we are a member of the Federation of Arab Engineers Organization. And there's also WFEO, World Federation Engineering Organization. So you see that we are involved with all sorts of the international organizations. The membership of each one requires some works, requires some dedication, requires attending meetings, etc. But that's it. That's the benefit of being members with this organization and networking. Once you become members, once you do the networking, you benefit from them. I'm very glad that we have been very, very positive in such participation. Locally, we also have got some engineers working in Bahrain from different institutes, such as the Indian institutes, Sri Lankan, Filipinos. We have some sort of memorandum of understanding with them for collaboration in terms of arranging seminars and similar things. So you have a look, and there are lots of relationships. So our work is not just limited to Bahrain Society of Engineers. It is regionally and internationally.
Well, before we go into a little bit of the general issues, Dr. Lia, you yourself, not just as the president of the society, but as an engineer yourself, where do you see there are potential improvement areas, and where do you see Bahrain is extremely advanced in this area? You as a professional in the field of engineering.
We are very advanced in terms of, I would say, engineers production. We have got very talented engineers, and when I mention engineers, I'm talking about engineers and architects as well, because BSE is for both engineers and architects. Bahrain Society of Engineers with their members has got lots of members, has produced lots of talented and innovative projects in private and public sectors.
Yeah.
So the support of Bahrain Society of Engineers is very essential in order to achieve such things. The other thing which is important is that despite saying that there are many engineers which are not members of Bahrain Society of Engineers, and I would like to use this opportunity to invite all of them to participate and submit their membership with BSE. Many of them say that what's the use of the membership, since I can get the benefits of BSE even though I'm not a member, because a membership is not compulsory, it's voluntary. The question is that it's the other way around, is that when you participate in BSE activities and BSE board, and then you get the return. It's not a matter of that the BSE coming to you and giving you its benefit. It's the other way around. You should go to BSE. You should make use of the networking. You should contribute. Yes, absolutely. And it's a national requirement. I mean, once you do that, you are doing something for yourself, for your profession, and for your country.
The standards of engineers even becomes different, and the visions that they have also excel. Some of the people, as you've already mentioned, that have excelled in the engineering world in Bahrain are women. And specifically, a couple of years ago, the kingdom, under a royal directive, has celebrated women in the engineering field in recognition of their role and contributions. How do you value their role and the development that they have brought to Bahrain?
That's a very important thing, and we value it very much. And as I said earlier, we have started with this back in 1998, and we have formed another committee, I think 4 or 5 years ago, and it consists with the president of Bahrain Society of Engineers is the chairman of this committee, including a number of women engineers, in order to address the problems facing women engineers. The committee is working well, and we are hoping that we will see more results very soon.
Yes. Well, you didn't, you talked about all of the training that is being provided by the society, and this training is also sometimes headed by some of the female engineers that are part members of the society. But specifically, very soon coming up, the society is organizing and sponsoring the IEEE Middle East and North Africa Communications Conference. This is going to be held this coming November. It's also organized the Bahrain International Property Exhibition, which will be held probably in September. What is the importance of playing the supportive role towards leading events such as these that are being brought here? You mentioned the economic value of it, but also is there like an exchange of expertise that is valued when doing these exhibitions?
Yes, of course. It varies from one conference to another. The specific conference which you mentioned with the University of Bahrain, it's as a result of signing a memorandum of understanding earlier this year with the university. And this is the first result, and we hope that to see more of this in the near future. We are very excited about it because it is the first result of this memorandum of understanding, and it's about important subjects related to communication, and it's also an association with an international body which is IEEE. In addition to this, you mentioned about BIPEX. BIPEX will be held in November, and it is edition number 12.
Yes.
And it's an extremely successful event for Bahrain Society of Engineers, so to have it 12 years in a row. We are hoping that this year there will be a slight variation in order to add few other activities besides the real estate, in order to just focus on things related to the subject, the core subject of BIPEX, basically. Because of the reputation, I'll go back to your question now, that we have in organizing conferences, we noticed that various companies and organizations, they come to Bahrain Society of Engineers in order to make use of the expertise in organizing such conferences, and we are very proud of this.
Yes.
And this is one example, the one with University of Bahrain. We get contacts from companies outside Bahrain to have conferences here in Bahrain in association with us.
Yes.
That's a great achievement for
the
Bahrain Society of Engineers and Bahrain.
Yes, and Bahrain. Actually, going back to the property show, over the years going to it, I mean, I've only been going to it for the past 6 years, but you can see how it kept on elevating. First, there were certain properties, then there were international community, and then there were the GCC, and then it went out to international properties within the European Union, other areas. So it really did evolve, and you can see the cooperation that is on an international level. People actually come to Bahrain to look at these properties because they know they will get a better value, that there is honesty when it comes to doing the business and everything. Are there standards that are put for these vendors that come from international communities?
There are, obviously, there are standards. First of all, in terms of real estate companies, we only accept the companies with certain standards.
Yeah.
There are lots of companies in the market, but those not having basic standards for involving themselves in such market, they don't get accepted. Yeah. We have deviated a little bit in order to invite more international companies, which is a positive result as a result of having many BIPEX exhibitions. This year's, I touched upon this a few minutes ago, but the addition to this will be a display of, let's say an exhibition of sustainable energy products. Yes. Yes. Because of the market trends and the need, etc., and the relationship of this to real estate markets, and this will be the new thing which we will add to Bahrain Society of Engineers exhibition in November, and there will be a press conference very soon to announce that and give you more details about it.
Of course, Bahrain has been working tirelessly, and specifically the EWA has been working on creating this awareness with the Bahraini community and the residents on the consumption of energy and how to improve it, giving a couple of tips on how to help people to become more green when it comes to energy consumption. And that's also a role that the Society of Engineering has taken upon itself by giving the training, which they are very famous for, their training services, their workshops and everything. Are these available also for, let's say, these vendors, the people that are within the real estate, or on the other side, the people that are building new buildings and so on? Do they have a place to go to and say, okay, I want a training now in efficient energy because we will be building a new kind of structure and everything. We want it to be a smart green structure. Are there trainings that are tailored to people if they want some specific kind of information? Yeah,
immediately such training programs are not available. But because of the need and because we hear that the regulations will be announced very soon in the Kingdom of Bahrain in order to introduce the green building requirements and regulations. It is our role to be prepared for such thing in terms of awareness and training. So we have already started preparing the plans to have various courses which will be announced very soon, in addition to an international conference which will be held sometimes next year. So yes, we are getting ready for such events, and we hope that the Bahrain Society of Engineers that can do its role in such area in terms of awareness and training.
Perfect. Well, I still want to talk about the training center, because as much as we say this to the people, they do not understand how much the Bahrain Society for Engineers has contributed in training in different kinds of fields, from the simplest issues until the most complex that are pertaining to engineering itself. So the Society's Training Center provides a wide variety of training courses. What can you tell us about the courses that are always available constantly to the students or even to long-term engineers, and what are the qualifications that they get, and what do they need for qualifications to be a part of these courses?
Yeah, okay. As I mentioned, the training center was established in '98, and we obtained the license from Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs. This center is still there within BSE headquarters in Jubair. It's a small training center, but within this center, since '98, we have conducted many workshops and trainings, in addition to other courses held in different places, such as hotels or wherever. As a result of continuous pressure on us about the requirements of core courses from different ministries, private sectors, etc., and the new policy to concentrate on training for the coming years, etc., we decided that to move forward, to build a new training center. As I said, it calls excellence centers for engineers. It's in the design stage. Hopefully the construction will start next year. It's a very unique building, and since we talked about sustainable things, it will be built in order to obtain Gold LEED certification.
Yes.
So it's going to be an iconic design. As we are an engineer, we have to design something very special.
Of course.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah. That will provide a very special and unique training facilities for the engineers.
Yes.
So this center will be a continuation of what we started back in 1998. Yeah. We held courses in all sorts of subjects.
Yes, you did.
Quite a lot. These days, I mean, the hot subject is under a program called Tamheed. Yeah.
Okay.
Tamheed, as I mentioned earlier, is an abbreviation name for a program called Program for Training and Recruitment of Recently Graduated Engineers.
Yes.
BSE organized, in fact, had a similar program by end of 90s, where we recruited, it was an association with Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs, by the way. We had a similar program for recruiting engineers, where the government was paying 50% of the salaries.
Yes.
And within 3 years, we recruited about 330 engineers, and the program ended when the budget was over.
Yeah.
So recently we have introduced this program, which called Tamheed, but we learned from the previous programs. We have introduced training as a prerequisite before starting the recruitment. Okay. So every engineer gets 2 months training, where at the Bahrain Society of Engineer Training Centers, where subjects like communications, soft skills, project management, report writing, we have got list of accredited and approved courses. Once he finishes that, then he can start and enter the market.
Yes, yes.
In addition to this is Tamheed. And in addition to this, we have got the other normal courses. You name it, safety, conditions of contracts, arbitrations. And there are there are lots of cases where companies, they come to us asking for specific courses, and we can usually arrange tailor-made courses for them.
As we're getting to the end of the show, I really want to know, where does technology fit in when it comes to the training, like the different new technologies that are coming out, whether it is in architecture or other engineering fields such as petroleum. There's always new technology coming out, and Bahrain is very keen on bringing in this technology in order to shorten the period of time for a certain project to finish, as well as perfecting the standard of whether it's buildings or any kind of services provided. So how does the training for new technologies come with the Society of Engineers?
For new technology, the training varies from one discipline to another.
Yes, of course.
And even within each discipline, within each specialization, there are different technologies depending on the subject of the thing.
But you do provide them?
If required. If required, yes, we do provide them. But as far as we are concerned, we have embarked into a new program for major reconstruction of the IT infrastructure at Bahrain Society of Engineers, including new website, new applications, etc., which will pave the way for members for better utilization of BSE services. And this will be finished very soon, in 1 or 2 months, and will be announced at that time.
Inshallah. Doctor, before the end of the show, what can you tell us about the future plans of the Bahrain Society of Engineers?
Oh, there are lots of plans, and the most important thing is that the expansion of BSE in order to provide better training for not only for engineers, for the engineering profession in Bahrain and in the region.
This so is technicians, everything underwear.
Exactly. We have introduced new programs, which I would like to mention, which will be the plan for the next few years. We have recently announced BSE Award, Bahrain Society of Engineers Award, for the first time in the history of BSE.
We will cover that.
Yes, and it will be, the announcement will be on the 15th of October, which is Bahraini Engineers Day. So you should be there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There is also a program called Ta'heel.
Right.
This is for a program to attract the engineers and members to work with Bahrain Society of Engineers and to encourage them. Bahrain Society of Engineers work is now complicated and it is very big. So we noticed that there is a sort of a barrier between the newcomers and the current team. So in order to break that barrier, we are introducing this program and inviting them to attend such courses where we show them how do we work, how the BSE is in structure, etc. So they will be attracted to work, and especially that we are in need for the young generation to be involved in the board of directors and the committees.
Inshallah.
So I think I covered most of the committees.
For the engineers or the future engineers that are watching this show, they can go to the website of the society and they will find a list of these courses?
Yes, they can go to BSE website, or they can visit Bahrain Society of Engineers at any time. We are open on daily. And if anybody wants to meet me personally, I am also available.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Diya Tawfiqi, for being with us today and answering a lot of our questions that we have. There is so much that we have to talk about more, but we have more episodes coming up, hopefully, with you and with the Bahrain Society for Engineers. So thank you for being with us today, and we would like to thank you, dear viewers, for watching, and see you next week in another episode of Inside Edition.